When photographers first start to decide to learn video so they can add it to their services, there's a huge emphasis on learning the technical skills, and for good reason. You need that operational know-how in order to even begin. But after that foundation is laid, the next crucial step is storytelling. Hey, I'm Jen. I'm a family photographer and filmmaker, and I'm your guide to adding video to your services by helping you learn all the things. This video is lesson 1 in my Storytelling for Non-scripted Filmmakers series. We'll begin by talking about shot types and shot sequencing that you can apply as you practice video and eventually use with clients. When you watch a feature film, TV, a show, a wedding video, a family film, what you're seeing is a culmination of video clips strategically sequenced to tell a story. There are different perspectives, different angles, different movements, and more. When you're watching something in real life, let's say your kid's baseball or softball game, you're content with sitting in one spot and viewing the whole game from that angle, that distance, that speed, etc. But if you were watching that same game on a screen, let's face it, you would be bored. Your mind wants a story, it wants details, it wants the point of view to hop around and get all aspects of that game. Think about watching an NFL game on TV. Would you watch if they just set a camera midfield and never moved? Probably not. Instead, the NFL knows the value of telling a story. They have dozens of cameras set up. They have sideline cameras hanging from cables above. They move perspective. They have sweeping cinematic shots. They get close-ups of the touchdown celebrations and the emotions. They get the frustrated quarterbacks. They get it all. The game becomes more exciting because it's presented to us like a story. So let's translate that same strategy to the films that you create for your clients. When a videographer is filming a scene, there are 2 ways it can be done. The first, like we talked about, set up a tripod and get the scene as one continuous shot. Not very exciting, but for certain projects, it can be useful to have that. The second way is to shoot 3, 5, 10 different angles, changing perspectives, adding movement, getting wide, getting medium, getting close-up shots, then repeat that process for each scene happening in the film. When it comes to storytelling, I would say choose the second way. Let's first break down the 4 different storytelling shots that you want to capture. They are wide shot, medium, close-up, and B-roll. Wide shots are important to establish the setting and give the viewer an idea of the surroundings. It tells us what's generally happening, everything from weather to this table here, what's happening on the table, and the fact that these 2 girls in this scene are coloring. It doesn't necessarily tell the viewer what's most important yet, but it gives a general idea of what's happening. Medium shots are where we start to get to know what's important in this story. Videographers can use medium shots to tell who the main characters are, which elements within the scene are most important to telling that story. Close-up shots help the viewer get in there and really feel what's happening. One caution, don't overuse close-ups or you risk a close-up losing its actual impact. B-roll can have a few uses. First is to help aid in meaning of the scene, help transition from one to the next more comfortably. B-roll generally doesn't move the story forward, and if it were removed, the viewer would still understand what's going on in the story, and it would be interesting. Next, we'll explore shot sequencing, but before we do that, if you're excited to tell the story of your clients, like this video, leave me a comment, and tell me which type of filmmaking you're most interested in. Now that you know the types of shots available, let's talk about how we can sequence those to help you capture and tell an effective story. The scene you assemble isn't always exactly what happened. It's about the story you want to tell. When you think about shot sequencing, it's all about assessing the scene you're about to film and really thinking ahead. Often, with unscripted live events like a wedding or a day-in-the-life family film, you have to think on your feet, even if you planned ahead and you know the order of events. As you capture a wide shot, recognize what's most important and mentally flag those for medium shots, close-ups, look for details that would make excellent B-roll. This is a quick process, but it eliminates you just shooting a whole bunch of things without much thought and getting to editing and hoping you have enough to cobble something together that's meaningful. In photography, I like to relate it to when you're learning to shoot manual and you just set your settings and you pray that you can fix it in post, instead of actually trying to nail your exposure, your composition, all that in camera. We've all been there. We've all had the shot that we know we're not gonna be able to bring back no matter what. Okay, back to shot sequencing. Once you think ahead and pick out your shots in advance, now you just have to capture them. When it comes to the edit, you'll have adequate footage to place together an effective story for that particular scene. Next, rinse and repeat. For each new scene, remember to get each kind of shot: wide, medium, close-up, and B-roll. Let's take a peek at what this looks like in video form. First, let's look at this gardening story shot as is, just a camera on a tripod, real time. Block. Kind of boring, right? Now let's see that same scene, but with shot sequencing. Did you see the difference? Which one did you think was longer? You might be surprised to find out that the first one was longer by 5 seconds. Shot sequencing allows me to control the pace of the story and cut out the parts that are not important. Time is really irrelevant with effective shot sequencing and captivating storytelling. It's reality, but it's a heightened reality version that is more interesting for our brains to watch. As humans, reality isn't really that exciting. We want fantasy. We want better than reality. As a photographer, your clients pay you to have the know-how to dress them, pose them, and place them in beautiful light with a gorgeous setting, likely with smiles on their faces. They don't want their grass-stained kids who are actually wrestling in the corner screaming at each other. They don't want that. They want the fantasy version of them looking at you and smiling, dressed up, right? You sell the best possible version of the family at this very moment in time. So how does that translate to working with clients who want video? Well, maybe it's filming a wedding or a family or a live event. I like to prepare as much as possible in advance so curveballs don't throw me off my game. If it were a wedding, I would likely have the schedule of the day. I would think through the shots that I think would be great to have. I would create a shot list. I personally use the photo reflection journal to help me prepare for my video and photo sessions. When you're at the event, you have a plan. So if a curveball gets thrown, you can still use the same ideas you came up with, but maybe you're in a different location or you're at a different time than expected. I'll use a family film as an example since that's what I do. Before my session, the client fills out a questionnaire about what their favorite family activities are, the parents' favorite physical features of their kids, favorite sayings, tendencies of the kids, all that. Knowing that information helps me capture what is most important to the family. From that questionnaire, the parents and I put together a loose schedule based on those activities. Next, when I arrive at the home and we begin filming each activity, I can assess the scene I'm filming, capture enough of each of the 4 types of shots. So we've got wide, medium, close-up, and B-roll. And when I feel like we've got enough of that scene, I'll suggest that we move on to the next activity. We change the setting. I do the same thing again, making sure I get all 4 types of shots. Pro tip, if things are moving too fast, I'll eliminate B-roll and come back and get that later. The main activities are the most important. Another great time to get B-roll, especially with a family, is if a kid has a meltdown and they need a break, or if the family needs to change clothes, great time for you to go and capture some B-roll. Now, I know that this can sound overwhelming, especially when you're just starting out, but the more you practice, the easier thinking ahead will become and the better you'll get at it. You'll secure all of your footage in a timely and creative manner. Now, more goes into getting these shots that we won't cover in this video, but some additional things that you'll want to consider and be intentional about as you film are camera angles, audio capture, camera movements, and continuity. I've got some videos on these and other storytelling subjects, so be sure to check out the description below for what you want to watch next. Please subscribe to my channel so you can see the next storytelling video, and I will see you then.